father is a life coach. So a father must understand life. Not only must he understand the enormity of the impact of the mother and the father themselves on the children in the home phase of their lives, but he must understand every single year of the life of the child in the development process. And therefore the father needs to be trained to understand what are the most impactful things in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, along until the child gets to 21 years old when he becomes an adult. And therefore in this session we want to train fathers to understand life. Life works with seasons. There is the home phase season, the first 11 years of life. Then there is the group adventure season, which is the teenager season from 12 to 18 years old. Then there's the preparation for maturity that you get at the end of that season. Then you embark in the success season where other influences impact your life. And then you work to the apex of success, which you will probably find here by 38 to 40 years old. This is the first half of your life. Then you go into the halftime, which is the transition period in life. Then you go to the second half. And after the second half, you go to the last season, which is the finishing well season. So one needs to understand that life works through phases and through seasons. But for a father to be a good life coach, he needs to understand the importance of every year of the life of a child. And that him and mother, who are the main potters of the clay, that they together have to work on these specific seasons. For instance, the first year, actually even the first months of your life, are very important in the instilling of trust, or if that is not there, mistrust. And therefore, if someone struggles later on in life, they must know that it actually comes from a void right there, a father wound, a mother wound, right there in the beginning of life. And the intimacy of the mother with the child in the first few months are absolutely essential, because the mother is the one that imparts intimacy into the life of a child, which is absolutely essential for all relationships that people have. 2 to 3 years are the years where autonomy develops. So now the children, the baby, walks on his own legs. He can run in his own direction. That's why you find the mothers running in the malls after the babies, where they decide which direction they want to run. Very important years, where by themselves they must make their decisions. So how you guide them to make decisions, for instance, is very important. But these years can create, for instance, if you do not do this in the right way, can create uncertainty for the rest of their lives. That they would forever not be sure on how to make the right decisions in life. So even 2, 3 years old, absolutely essential years. The next phase, 4 and 5 years old, this is the phase of exploration and imagination. So now the child enters the world of animals, dinosaurs, all these freaky, funny things, and the imagination takes him everywhere. So because of this uncertainty and discovery of new things, the secure environment, the emotional secure environment is absolutely essential there. And that the mother would be the one to nurture and comfort and embrace the child within a secure emotional environment, although in his head and in his mind, the mind is running wild in his whole process of discovery. 4 and 5 years old, absolutely essential. And then 6 years old, now he enters from the mother impact years, which is 0 to 5. Now he enters into the father impact years. Father becomes the primary influencer in the life of a child. And the mother must actually coach the child into that dependence on the father. Now 6 years old, now the child has discovered new things to do, and the father is the one to bring affirmation to his strengths, the good things that he does, his unique significance. So the affirmation of the father, 6, 7, 8 years, absolutely essential to not leave you with uncertainty for the rest of your life. So the child moving with the father, the child talking to the father, the father spending time with the child when he's 6, 7, 8 years old, absolutely essential. And then you come to a very key phase, and this is 8 years old. 8 years old, then the abstract thinking starts to develop. So when I talk to specialists in Christian formation, then they tell me that a good time for a child to make a decision of commitment to Jesus, for instance, is 8.5 years old. Because now they start to understand abstract thinking, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And also, this is essential in the preparation for the next phase that would follow, which is also a phase that can really rock the boat. And that is the phase of the sexual development. Puberty starts with the girls 9 to 11 years, with boys 10 to 13 years old, maybe 2 years later, and they need guidance in that. And they need the stability and the strength of the father in this process. So the father takes responsibility to talk to his son and the mother to the daughter, but the father is the life coach, keeping the time of each of these phases to guide and coach the child into understanding life in a better way. So now mother and father talks the child to the sexual development and all they will encounter in life related to that. Please, we all know we cannot leave this to the general media to train our children and educate our children in this. This is the responsibility of the father and the mother. So the father years, impact years, 6 to 11. The last 2 years of those, 10 and 11, absolutely essential in forming identity in the child. The child must understand who he is. Identity is formed mainly by 4 things. Number 1, that you will understand your own uniqueness, and that you will understand, therefore, the own values that you choose, the friends that you choose, the choices that you make, and that you will know exactly how to do it, to say, this is what I choose amongst many, many possibilities. And also, from 10 years old, you will have to have a mission in life. So that mission gives you direction. So identity and purpose must be clear in the life of a child 10 and 11 years old. Very sensitive time where the child can be impacted through the right values. One of my children, we took to Calcutta, India in those years, and the permanent impact of instilling the right values in the child is seen now in the child. Wonderful years of instilling the right values in the child, 10 and 11. Then they move into the group adventure phase. Wonderful phase of learning social skills, relational skills, conflict, communication, decision making. Where do I fit into the structure of my group? How can I impact the rest of the group? Leadership training by the end of that phase, 16, 17, 18 years old. How can I impact the culture of the teenagers when I come to the end of that phase? And then the child with a great relationship with the father will go to the second father impact phase, which is 19 to 21. Come back to the father for life wisdom. Dad, what should I live for? Dad, again, what are the key values that we should adhere to? Dad, what does the future hold? Dad, how can I prepare myself to be a responsible adult when I am 21 years old? 21 years old, the child is released in the adult world, and therefore a rite of passage is very important. 21. Also, we believe that even in 13 years, to give him a rite of passage to enter the group adventure phase, and then at the end of the group adventure phase, 21 years, to release him into life, to launch him into life and say, you know what life is all about. You've got what it takes. Now go and live life. And then the child departs in his mind, grabbing the responsibility of life, enter the success season. Because he knows who he is, he can deal with the impact of culture and maybe by himself also impact culture, and then he can go through the success season of life and enter the other seasons in life. Every year in the development of a child is absolutely essential. And therefore, a father needs to know what to do in these years. And when we train the fathers, we train them in the detail of what to do every single year in the life of a child. So that at the end of this life, the child will know God has used my father and mother to be the potters of the clay, to mold me. Their fingerprints are in my life. And God's fingerprints are in my life because father and mother being used by God as the glove to form me, to equip me to challenge all the challenges of life.